guys, and welcome to the next video about my very first Bioactive crested gecko setup. If you want to see how this tank was set up, my last video was all about that. This video is just going to be going over all of the ways that this tank has changed from the first day that I put it all together till now. So first things first, Daenerys, my crested gecko, is in here finally. I let this tank establish for about a month before I put her in it. So perhaps the most dramatic change done to this tank was installed about a week after I first set up the tank, and that is I ordered and received a lamp. It is the Jungle Dawn LED bar by Arcadia. It is the 22 watt. And the change it made in the look of this tank was so dramatic. I somehow wasn't expecting that. But now I know that I cannot ever go back to not having lights on my reptile tanks, because this just actually changed everything. So the Jungle Dawn is not a UVB lamp. It is meant to help with plant growth. I've also been considering for a long time having lights for my crested geckos on a timer for a day-night schedule. So that brings me to the other product I bought at the same time as I bought the Jungle Dawn lamp, and that was a timed power bar. It had a lot of good reviews and it had everything that I was looking for. Its biggest feature is that it is surge protected. Its second biggest feature is the obvious timer attached to it. The 4 outlets under the green light are outlets that can be timed, and you can actually turn off the timer for those outlets if you want the entire bar to be a constant source of power. The 4 outlets under the red light are always constant and cannot be timed. So right now the Jungle Dawn is plugged into the timed outlet. It is the only thing that is being timed currently, and I have it on a 12 hours on, 12 hours off schedule. So now we're going to have a proper look inside of the tank and just go over the things that have been changed since my last video. Probably the most obvious is the lack of the Petra plant that was right here. There was also another croton plant back here, and they both died. They were not doing great before I put them in, and I have learned that croton plants are kind of melodramatic. I'm not a huge plant person. I'm not as passionate about plants as I am about animals, so even though there's, I'm sure, plenty of people that would do everything in their power to try to save those plants, I personally was like, okay, they're not doing well. Don't really like how they look in there. I have no interest in babying these melodramatic plants. So when they were pretty much totally gone, well, that one was completely dead. The Petra was almost there, and I just decided to take them out and get rid of them. These guys, the rest of the plants I have in here, I did this on purpose. I got ones that not only that I knew were safe for crested geckos, but that were hardy and that would be pretty difficult to kill. What I have in here is a snake plant, which is my personal favorite. I think it just, I don't know, something about it just makes the whole tank. And then back here I have a pothos. I can't remember which type. Back here you really can't see it. It's a little Schefflera plant and it is very tiny. And then back here I have a parlor palm, and this is probably my second favorite at the moment anyway. It's so intensely green. As you can see, it's reaching out and it'll create a lot more cover. Daenerys, that is her favorite hiding spot back there under the parlor palm. It's like the most shaded area. Unfortunately, with the Jungle Dawn and the fact that my plants are still small, there's quite a lack of shade and cover, which I feel a little bad for her because she's not used to having a lamp on during the day. So I think she's adjusting. But yeah, I'm excited for when there's more shady areas so that she feels like she has more options. I added my cleanup crew, I forget if it was a week or 2 weeks before I added Daenerys, because I wanted to see how they would establish first. I'm still unsure about how that is all going. For some reason, that's the part that's causing me the most stress, I guess. I have 2 types of dwarf isopods in there, the dwarf purples and the dwarf whites, and I added them, and then because they really enjoy, they're pretty much always underground, I really have no idea how they're doing. and if they survived and all of that. So I don't want to keep adding them out of worry and then have like the tank to be overrun with isopods. But I also don't know how to check to see how everybody's doing. Of course, I also added springtails. So I have been able to see a few here and there, like on this wood hide. But again, they're another thing that it's very hard for me to see them and see how the numbers are doing. The ones I do see on a regular basis are the zebra isopods because they are a larger type of isopod. I don't know if you can see that little guy crawling down. They really love the background. There's all these tiny little places that they're hiding in and hopefully breeding in. So in theory, it's going to keep them safe from Daenerys. One of the first things that happened, literally just a couple of days after I first set up this tank, was the loss of the big sponge mushroom that I ended up putting back here. And I will insert the quality footage of that experience here. So that happened. This is in fact the mushroom I put in there. And it literally took maybe 2 days. And it was absolutely covered in this thick mold. This is way too much mold for my little cleanup crew to eat. There's like 0 cleanup crew on here. Like, I put so many springtails in that terrarium and not one of them is taking a liking to this. Another probably obvious change if you watched the last video, and I think this was my most recent change, I did it right before I added Daenerys, is move the hanging coconut hide from over here, from just behind the snake plant to back there. Originally, the reason I put it over here was because I was thinking about the Schefflera plant in particular not having enough space to like grow and take this over, but then I was like, well, for a start, the Schefflera is going to take a while to get up there, and then we'll kind of decide once it is taller if I need to move that or not. But also it just looks better in the middle and filling up this kind of empty area. Another change I did just to kind of bring the whole look together, make things look a little bit better, was put some sphagnum moss between the ends of the birch branches and the glass. So I did it here and I did it to the one up there. I don't know, it just looked a little funny to me because there was like there wasn't this nice progression of the branch. Just kind of ended right there, and then there was this awkward space between the branch and the glass. So after the incident with the mushroom going moldy, I started to notice this hide getting moldy. It was a different kind of mold than what the mushroom had. It's actually like 3 or 4 different colors of mold. And it was mostly on the inside, kind of creeping up from the bottom and going to the top, and there were some creeping up on the outside. I looked up these hides. It's called a Habahut. I'm not 100% sure what kind of wood it's made from, but I should have researched it before I bought it because it turns out that mold is a problem with these huts. I took it out, I scrubbed the moss off, and then I soaked it in a bleach solution for a long time, and I'm hopeful that, I mean, it looks way better, the mold is gone, but I'm hopeful that it will give it a chance now. I'm not spraying it, or trying not to anyway. I repositioned this little birch branch. I didn't know what to do with it if you saw my last video. I didn't know where to put it, and it was really bad where I put it initially. So it's just lying down there now. I felt like it would create like a little bridge area for Daenerys to walk across, go back behind there. Also, as well as giving the cleanup crew something to hide underneath. I think I've mentioned everything that has changed since my last video. I know that a lot of people subscribe to me because of the small mammals that I have been keeping over the years. That's what I started off with. That's what most of my channel is about. Whenever I've uploaded anything about reptiles, it hasn't done well. In fact, I think I've taken a few down or like made them private or something, I'm not sure. But I'm just in a different headspace where I kind of just don't care about how well these videos do, you know? Like, it's a hobby for me. But I am getting more and more into reptiles, and I just have my 2 cresties, but I have hopes and dreams for many other species. Really appreciate the fact that so many of you have stuck around and my subscriber number hasn't dropped at all, which is really shocking to me because I've been very inconsistent and then I've been gone for a very long time without really knowing if or when I would come back. So I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciate the fact that you guys actually stick around. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I hope you guys, even if you're not into reptiles or you don't have any of your own, I hope that you'll find something interesting about my reptile related videos. I will see you in my next video, guys. Bye.